Just wanted to introduce ourselves first. So I am Deborah Ford. I am going to be the leader of the trip. I've been at Davidson-Davie for a little over 7 years now. And I teach college success, college transfer classes, and sometimes psychology. And I would like to introduce you to my co-leader, Aaron Pilliman.
Hello, how's it going? I'm a music teacher here. I teach music appreciation, MUS 110, and I have been at Davidson Davie Community College for about 4 years.
Awesome. I actually went on this trip in March 2020. It was my first time that I was ever outside of the country, other than Canada. Don't really count that, but I may have been last year in the same spot that you are right now. So if you've never traveled outside of the country before, don't have a passport, these are the sorts of things that we walk you through. So hang tight and we will definitely get everything taken care of for you. So let's go ahead and jump into the presentation. Need to switch over and share my screen. Hang on just a second. Okay. All right, so I wanted to start off with a little way for each of you guys to get to know our hosts. We have several hosts that work for the Institute of Study Abroad in Ireland, and our main host is Neve. So she's someone who is very into history. I believe she has a PhD in Irish history, but she's a very fascinating person. And just to give you a little glimpse of this, I took a post from her Facebook page. So she actually wrote this on Friday. So this is right before Valentine's Day, and she's titled it "The Green-Eyed Monster." So she said, today is the feast day of St. Julian the Hospitaller, the patron saint of murderers and bearded ladies. There's probably a walk somewhere that would perfectly encompass both things, but perhaps not within my designated lockdown area. Instead, come with me to the Jealous Valley. Glenade is a beautiful glaciated valley stretching between Kinlow and Manorhamilton. This morning, the light frosting on the hills beside Eagles Rock sparkled in the spring sunshine. Unfortunately, the quarry and its surroundings are beyond the boundary today, but I hope you get an idea of how lovely they look from my long-range photos. Glenade, or I can't pronounce the Irish part, does literally translate as the Glen of Jealousy. There are many, many stories of how it got its name. One story tells of a woman who was jealous of her husband. She decided she had had enough of him, so she boiled the flesh of a poisonous reptile she found in the lake and served it to him. As her husband lay dying, the woman became remorseful and confessed to him. He explained to her that if she sat naked on a stone in the valley for hours, he would recover. So she did, and promptly died. He recovered and married again and lived happily ever afterwards despite her. Guess there is a reason Disney hasn't done a lot of Irish tales. The moral of that story may be open to interpretation, but hopefully it might prove an antidote to any fellow singletons out there feeling the pressure on the eve of St. Valentine's. The rest of you can take it as a nice reminder to dress appropriately when you visit. As to whether it is how Glenade got its name, I'm not so sure. I also realize that technically the story may not even have a murderer, let alone a bearded lady. But given the 5-kilometer limitation, I hope that you and St. Julian will agree. It's a decent effort. So Neve, like I said, is a very interesting person, and she's got many stories to tell you of the history of Ireland and the mythology that sometimes goes with it. So hope you like that little story of hers from last Friday. So Erin and I are going to try to convince you to go to Ireland 2021. We've got 10 reasons why you should go to Ireland. So let's start with number 1. They speak English. English is widely spoken in Ireland and Northern Ireland. We will visit both countries. Their accents are lovely, and a wee bit of listening, you can understand what they are saying. I tried to do my best Irish accent, but that probably wasn't very good. You can also learn a bit of Gaelic too. They prefer to call it Irish these days. So the Irish language is making a comeback. There's been a concerted effort to do so, but anything that you need to know will be presented to you in English. So no worries there. And there's a little picture that I took from the tourism website, but the town that we'll be staying in is Bondoran, and it is a little town, and they are kind of our home base as we go on trips every day. And we always come back to Bondoran. Great little town. And of course, another top one is that they're friendly. So tourism is a large part of their economy. Their population has dwindled quite a bit since the potato famine, and actually they've never recovered from that in terms of population. So they always welcome visitors, and they do have a shared history with us. So and that is one of the talks that Neve gives while we're there. So just a little more details about this, that every morning we come downstairs, and in the hotel, there's this beautiful dining room with a lovely smorgasbord of food for breakfast. Some of us love the food so much that we would take a little pastry and sneak it with us in our backpacks for a little snack along the day there. But after that, we would move to the back room, and Neve and or John, you can see John here on the right, would give us our professional lecture for the morning. It is interactive. There's pictures and wonderful stories of the history of Ireland. So, and then we start our day. We board a tour bus, and they take us to the destinations that are related to the lecture that morning. So I can't think of any easier way to travel there. I mean, the breakfast is there, lecture is there, you walk right outside the door and you board your tour bus there. It's and the pub is in the hotel too. So it's a really great time for anyone, especially those of you that are new and have not traveled outside of the US. The cuisine is similar, but I think most of us that have gone will say it's better. You'll see a couple of pictures. We've got fresh caught seafood. We have that several nights. Pastries are baked fresh daily. lovely Irish soda bread. You can see a picture of that in the bottom left corner. Irish stew in the top picture there. Wonderful, wonderful. You definitely have to try that. um, and then the other picture is smoked haddock in Colcannon. So, but it's just unbelievable how good their food is. It's fresh. They don't have as many preservatives in there. There's not as much additives as in our food here. So it just tastes wonderful. I don't know. That's the only way that I can actually describe it. It's just a pleasure to eat your meal. And we all dine together. So in the evenings, dinner is usually somewhere local. I'd say probably like 95% of the time that we're there, we just walk somewhere close by in the town, in a small little quaint town. And we have a fresh dinner and we enjoy each other's company. So it really is a great time. And of course, you cannot forget the wonderful Irish drinks and desserts. Have any Guinness fans here? Hopefully so. So there, one of the things that we did not get to do last year because COVID was really on the increase, and in the latter part of our trip, the last, I guess, 3 days, places started to close, unfortunately. So one of the things that we were supposed to do at the end of our trip was to get a tour of the Guinness brewery. I was signed up for that tour, so I am going to hopefully get that back on the agenda for this year's trip in 2021. So there's lots of great drinks. If you don't like Guinness beer, I know that's a dark beer, and some people just don't like that kind of beer. There's plenty of good Irish whiskey. You can see it here that it's often served with citrus. And they also have desserts infused with Guinness, such as the one on the right, the Guinness chocolate pudding. So plenty of other beers and drinks that are served in the pub. So I think everyone will find something that they would like to drink. And it's kind of nice because at the end of the night, after we have dinner, we just walk back. And if you want to just hang out in your room, you are fine to do that. But if you'd like to be a little social, there's always a gathering of some of us down there at the pub. And Neve and John make sure that every night that we're there, we have a different music group. So you can hear a different style of music. All right, Aaron, would you like to talk about this slide?
Yes, absolutely. So Irish history is very rich, and they have a difficult relationship with England in their history, as do we. England conquered Ireland, and they did not treat Ireland very well. And Ireland, a lot of Irish history is their attempt to gain independence from England, which they eventually did. Most of the country, not the northern tip of the island, but there are lots of great ancient ruins. There's of course, the Celtic tradition, Celtic tradition, I'm sorry, and of course, St. Patrick, and even more recent history. A lot of the great modernist authors are from Ireland. So, for example, James Joyce, Oscar Wilde, William Butler Yeats is from there. even some more recent, Samuel Beckett, for example. So some of the greatest authors in the English language are from Ireland. And it's just a beautiful country, a lot of ancient history and more recent history there, with the Troubles and the IRA and their really more recent freedom from England than the United States.
Thank you, Aaron.
Sure.
So there are plenty of places that we visit. So like Aaron was talking about, the Troubles and the Civil Rights Movement. There is a museum that we'll visit in Free Dairy that will show you quite a bit of the history. We even usually have someone that had either lived through that event or was a family member of someone that suffered through that time. So there was a lot of bloodshed and violence. One of the more sadder parts of the trip, but I think that the phrase, if we don't learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. And I think it's a lesson that all of us can, learn from. So some of the places that we visited, these are my photos here from last year. Many areas of natural beauty. And Ireland is definitely well known for that. And the architecture that you'll see, that's just one of my favorite things, was to see all of the buildings and how well preserved they are. And we go inside many of them. I think we went inside this one, and this one had a museum inside. So it talked about the history of Ireland. So we got to see their political history, for the most part, was in that museum there. And of course, fine dining, such as this restaurant here at the bottom. So just every place I went, it was just very beautiful, very lovely places to visit. And of course, there are some activities other than sightseeing that you do on this trip. These are two of our biggest activities. So Bundoran is the surf capital of Ireland. And if you'd like, you can partake in a surfing lesson and try it out for yourself. Never fear, though, the students are wearing dry suits. You don't have to bring your own unless you want to, but they do have dry suits here for you to wear for your lesson. I didn't do that one. I was not as brave, being my first time out of the country, but I did do the horseback riding, and that was very fun. So you get your horse, they give you all the gear, definitely need some boots that they let you borrow, because it tends to be very muddy in some of the horseback riding trails in the stables. So they give you your horse, they help you get on the horse, and then there is someone, such as this person here, that actually leads the horses, and the rest of the horses follow. So there's really nothing that you have to do, just stay on your horse, which is pretty easy. But during this very relaxing ride, you get to see beautiful views of the ocean and the landscape in Ireland. And Aaron's going to talk to us about Irish music for a little bit.
All right. All right. So Irish also has a rich musical history, from beautiful folk music. Like, for example, here you're hearing Daithí Spruill, who is a Irish dadgad guitar player. They actually retune, some Irish guitarists retune their guitars to a different tuning, which gives it a very distinct sound. And this is him playing with his group of Irish folk musicians. So anyway, from beautiful Irish folk music to modern rockers like U2, Sinead O'Connor, the Cranberries, Enya. Ireland has a rich musical tradition, and as Deborah said earlier, there will be lots of opportunity to experience live music in the hotel. So I very much look forward to that as a musician myself.
Same here. So maybe as the time gets closer, we can talk about it in our class. If anyone would like to bring an instrument, maybe Neve will let us play with her. She actually plays guitar and sings, and there's a couple nights where you have a chance. We have kind of a group sing along. And it's really neat because she will play some traditional Irish music, and of course the words are quite funny. But Irish people love to have a good time, so you will definitely have a good time in the pub, listening to music, drinking, sharing stories, and so forth. So there are quite a few locals that do come into that pub, very fine folk that I think you would like to get to know. So there's plenty of opportunity to socialize and hear some good music. And of course, it's a great chance to make new friends. Here's a group picture of us on our March 2020 trip before we had to wear masks. Probably should have been wearing masks back then, but we didn't know that. None of us got sick though, so, knock on wood here. But there is the Titanic Museum. We went in there for a brief spell, and their gift shop is amazing. You can get anything with the words Titanic, RMS on there that you'd want. You'd be surprised what you'd find in there. And of course, we have plenty of time to explore various cities and just look around town. You'll see here in the bottom left, we were outside of a local pub. This is just like a really neat alley area. You just don't even know what's around the corner. Just turn the corner and you look down this alley, and there this is. So it's the whole country is very beautiful. So I know that doesn't do it justice, but that's the best that I can say for that. And of course, number 10, you don't want to miss out on the fun. So there's a group of our students that went last year that were having a fun time singing along. And then this is one of the cliffs that Neve takes us to. We go here every year, and she said this was one of the first years that there was actually a rainbow when we visited. So very neat. We all had fun taking pictures of that. And now Aaron is going to share a little story by Collie.
This is Neve's brother, correct?
Yes.
All right.
You'll definitely meet him. He's usually the one that picks us up at the airport. So he's like the first person that we meet, and he is absolutely hilarious. Everyone loves him. Really fun guy.
So this is Collie's fish story. All right. So today, this is him. Today, I want to take you to visit a holy well frequented by St. Patrick. His was a thirsty fellow, St. Patrick, as a quick Google of the phrase St. Patrick's Well will show you. Ireland has over 3,000 holy well sites, many of which were sacred sites predating Christianity. Most of these sites were since converted to be associated with Christian saints. This particular well is just outside Tulligan village and requires a little cross-country amble. Thankfully, I remembered my boots today, although while navigating a tricky spot, I dropped one of my earbuds. Just over the crest of the hill is the well itself, adorned with St. Patrick, looking considerably warmer than I was, in his nice case overlooking the landscape. There are many stories associated with the well. Among them is that St. Patrick liked to shave here, giving credence to the belief that St. Patrick was of Roman stock. They liked to be clean shaven, while the local Celts were more inclined to the hirsute barista look. But the most famous tale of his visits is a tale of two rivers, the Duff and the Drowse. While crossing the Duff, Patrick saw some men fishing on for salmon. He was hungry, so he asked them if he could have some. "They're scarce today," said the men. "May they always be so," replied a disgruntled Patrick. That finished the fishing there for a long time. Before long, Patrick came to the river Drowse and found more fishermen. They were more generous and gave the hungry saint a fish. He was grateful, blessing the river. He said, "May the Drowse never be without a salmon." To this day, it remains a bountiful fishing spot, and in the pictures below is Drowse salmon fisheries snapped of the first salmon caught this year, all done within COVID regulations, of course. The well is associated with various healing properties, providing cures for warts, toothaches, and sick animals, among many other things. I don't know about that, but I can tell you, after paying my respects, I returned to the car, windswept, but happy. And what was lying in the grass waiting for me? Only my missing earbud.
Hopefully you guys like this post from Collie. That was also taken from the group's Facebook page. So definitely something to check out. They try to make a post every day, and they're on lockdown too. I think their lockdown is a bit more strict than ours. So like Nee was saying in her post, they can only go a 5-kilometer distance. That's what they're limited to. So they've been trying to visit various places and give us a little bit of history or mythology or a little bit of both, and just show the beauty of the country and what they do there. I also added in a few more photos of Ireland. Normally we don't have this long to talk about our trip. So just wanted to throw some more scenes in that I think really show you some of the beauty of the island. This is taken on the coast of the town that we stay in, Bundoran. There's one of the local churches that you can walk to. And on Sunday, they do have a service. If you'd like to visit one of the local churches to have service, they welcome visitors. Very quaint little town. And there's many shops that are in walking distance of the hotel. Many little cafes and little shops where you can buy things. I think there's even a surf shop. If you're into surfing, you can get some surfing gear there too. This may not be you, but it is possible to surf in Bundoran if you'd like to. This is in Leitrim. It's a little bit of a drive from there, but just kind of highlights the beauty. And of course, we cannot forget the ferries. That's probably one thing that they're very known for, is the Celtic mythology of fairies. And so here's a fairy hollow in Kinlow. We will visit some sites such as this. We didn't quite visit this site, but one thing that I was not prepared for is that you may leave a trinket at the site such as this, and it's for good luck and good health for whoever you would like to wish it for. So be prepared if you'd like to go on a trip to bring a little trinket. It could be a little tiny piece of cloth, or any little thing that you would like to leave to represent that you were there. So it's kind of a neat little history there. Ireland is waiting for you. So once again, here we have another rainbow. And of course, you will notice that they probably do have more rainbows than we do over here because their climate is a bit different. Being that they're on the Atlantic Ocean, it does rain quite a bit. I don't know what the weather is like in October. We have not gone there in October before. But from talking to Neve about this, I think the weather is a bit better than when we typically visit in March. So that's very hopeful anyway. And just a few more details about the trip. I've got the contact info for Erin and myself here. So you are definitely welcome to email us if you have any questions. One thing that I love about our study abroad trips is that the price that you get, and right now it's about $2,700 based on previous trips that we've had. We don't know if the airfare is going to be more or less. You know, we've got COVID to deal with, so I don't know what they're going to be charging, but your cost of $2,700 includes airfare, all of your accommodations, your breakfast, your dinner, travel on the tour buses. So pretty much the only thing that you have to purchase while you're there is lunch, and if you'd like any souvenirs. So Neve has also set up a gift shop that works in partnership with some of the local artisans there. And so you can get handmade clothes, jewelry, you can get books and postcards and all sorts of things. So once again, a neat little place. It's just right there at our hotel. If you're a student, there may be some scholarships available. Suzanne told us it can range from $500 to $1,500. It just depends on the college's budget at the time. And there is one more thing. You will need to take the HUM 180 course. So if you are a curriculum student, you can use that towards your degree program as elective credit. However, if you're not a student, you would take it as a continuing education class. That's what I did last year. So Erin and I will be teaching that class. It's a wonderful class that helps you prepare for the trip. We talk about the things that you'll need for traveling. You know, I'll give you the dimensions for suitcases and things like that that you can bring on board for the airline that we typically use. We'll tell you how to get your passport. We'll teach you various we'll give you a primer on the culture, but we won't get into too much depth because, you know, we really want Neve and John and Collie to tell you the history firsthand. So it's much better to come from them. But, you know, and we'll also talk about customs too. So like one of the things I learned is in Ireland, you don't want to wear orange. So orange represents Northern Ireland. But it's still part of their flag. So they love green. They don't like leprechauns. We'll talk about that. But just some things that you may not know that will be helpful to know when you get there.
When would we have to be in that class?
That class typically is a few weeks before we go. So for us, it would start the first term of the fall semester. And the class only meets 5 times, so it's not like a, you know, like a super big time commitment from people. So it's I think it's very doable. And it meets at night. I don't know if I said that or not, but it meets one night a week for 5 weeks.
So this is a class that we could add into what we're already going to be taking.
Yes. So if I were a student, I would just clear it with my academic advisor first, to see whether you can use that class for your program. If you can't use it, then you probably want to sign up for the Con Ed version of the class. So the Con Ed version doesn't have a grade to it really, but you can't use the Con Ed course towards a degree though. Does that make sense? Any questions or comments? We've had some great questions so far. Is anyone thinking of going? They can do a little thumbs up from the reactions button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Do we have anyone that is thinking of going? No one yet. Okay. But hopefully we will have convinced you to give it some thought. And we do have an early bird discount. So you can get $100 off the trip for making a deposit by April 15th. So right when you're getting that tax refund, think about it. It would be money well worth spent. Thank you, Sonia. Glad you liked it. All right, well, we ended a little bit early, but I hope that you learned a little bit about Ireland and will consider going with us in October 2021 or maybe a future trip. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Colton.